Welcome. This is video number 2. It's official. I have a channel and there's more than one video on it. I may have mentioned this in the first video. I'll be honest, I don't actually remember. I really hate pictures of myself. I really hate videos of myself. So this is way out of my comfort zone. However, I do think there's value in presenting myself as myself, quirks and discomfort and self-conscious tics and all. As I'm putting myself out there as someone who wants to work with and collaborate with, really, highly sensitive beatniks and creative renegades. And it's a little hard to put that on a business card if I'm not willing to be a highly sensitive beatnik and or a creative renegade. So I just want to start this video by saying thank you. Thank you for your patience, for your curiosity, and for your maybe even a little bit of a, I don't know about you, kid, but you're still here. So my gratitude. In terms of the topic of today, I wanted to hit on the subject of balance. It's been on my mind lately. I think I'll use Ayurveda as a framework for this because I found it in my graduate studies to be really helpful as a framework. I'm just going to go really superficially over these concepts, and if you want to go into a deeper dive, I will be doing that, but that deeper dive will be in my membership site. I'm doing that primarily because I'm assuming that not everyone wants to do a deep dive into Ayurvedic studies, so I'm trying to help y'all out. So the basic idea in Ayurveda, it's very similar to Chinese medicine in that with Ayurvedic medicine, it's not about treating the body as a machine with parts that might malfunction and that we then need to fix. It's not exactly the way. It's a framework that sees the body as an ecosystem. Our job is to keep that ecosystem functioning optimally, and everyone's ecosystem is a little bit different. Balance looks different for each person depending on your constitution. So each person comes to this world with a constitution and with a specific algorithm for what balance looks like for that individual. And if you think that there's just one algorithm, well, tough, just kidding. No, not really true. It can change depending on your age, depending on where you are in the process of your life. It can change on depending on the external environment. Is it raining? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it windy? Is it, that sort of thing. And it can change depending on what you eat, what's going on at your work, what's happening in your relationships. And basically there are 3 what are called doshas. These are what make up our constitution. So there's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata, it's symbolized by air and space, and it moves and is in control of the nervous system. When someone who is sort of a predominant Vata personality type, you would know because they have sort of an angular look about them. They tend to be bony, angular. Ballerinas are the classic Vata. They float around. At least that's the appearance that they give. They're not necessarily fragile. Are you kidding? They can do some extraordinary things, but the look of them is elegant and petite and exquisite and fragile. And Vata person who's in balance is creative and inquisitive and curious, vibrant. There's an ethereal quality about them. When they're imbalanced, though, you'll notice, so a Vata imbalance would entail anxiety, a sense of ungroundedness. ADHD would be a classic Vata thing. The nervous system is agitated. So that's Vata. Pitta is symbolized by water and fire, and it rules the digestive system, which makes sense if you think about eating. Your digestive acids are basically water and fire. So when a Pitta person, you would know them because they tend to be medium, like medium-sized, medium build. They tend to have intense eyes. They will have maybe a sturdy disposition. They're assertive, they're go-getters, they're ambitious, they do things, they're digesting, they're moving all the time, they're competitive, they're edgy. And when they're in balance, people of this type, most people are a combination of 1 or 2, but anyway, if they're balanced, they're productive, They're great leaders. They are great producers. They will get the job done. They're excitable. They're vivacious and quick-witted. They're intelligent. When they're imbalanced, they're aggressive. They're too competitive. They're irritable. They might have indigestion. They will be voraciously hungry. They can't get enough. There's just a lot of heat. They feel there's heat, hence fire. And then there's kapha. Kapha is symbolized by water and earth, and it rules the organs and the fluid in the body. So kapha types are people who are, they tend to be voluptuous. They have milky, smooth, maybe even porcelain-like skin. They'll have thick, luscious hair. You'll know a kapha person because they tend to be, well, at least to an imbalance, very nurturing, motherly, parental, loving. There's a nourishing quality about them. And they can hold the space beautifully when they're in balance. When they're not in balance, they're lethargic, prone to laziness. They eat too many sweets. There's just a quality about them. So at any rate, that's just giving a general framework, and it worked well for me because I resonated with it. For years, and I do mean years, from when I was 8 years old all the way up until probably 5 years ago, probably maybe even 3 years ago, I would say I had a vata imbalance. My little nervous system was just always out of control. I had trouble sleeping. I had trouble calming down. I just always had this sort of bzzz quality within me. And as I had started to identify myself as a highly sensitive person, that made more sense because, everything around me is highly stimulating and my nervous system is is picking up onto a lot of that. So it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, that's how it was. And I remember going to an Ayurvedic practitioner because I was curious, what's my type? And I thought, whenever I'd taken the test, it said I was Vata Pitta. So predominantly Vata, hence all the nuttiness, and then Pitta was my secondary, and then hence all of the ambitious go-getterness. And when I sat down with a practitioner, he took my pulse, which is the typical way that they'll first assess, ask a few questions, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, honey, you're not Vata Pitta, you're Pitta Kapha. You're actually very grounded in temperament, and you're assertive, and these are the qualities, they were qualities that I would desperately have wanted to cultivate." He said, "Yeah, those things are you, but you've had a Vata imbalance for so long. You've now identified with that." And he backed off and said, "To be fair, this is most Americans because America is a very stimulating, nerve-wracking kind of space to occupy. Most people in America, if they have any agitation at all, are agitated, they have a Vata imbalance," which I thought was kind of comical. So I'm using all of that language, and again, I do a deeper dive in the membership site if you want to go way into that, but I'm using all of that language mostly as background to say that I moved mountains. I made a lot of changes in my life so that I could soothe that frenetic, chaotic nerve system short wiring that was going on. And it worked. I mean, I had to change a lot. I moved out of the state. I changed jobs. I changed relationship status. I changed everything. Everything that could be changed. My habits, my living space, everything. And for the first time in my life, there wasn't that itchy buzz that was going on. And as a result of the vacuum that was left over from that, this void that was left over, in rushed this avalanche of creativity, this fire, this burning, this I gotta do it, I have to go. And the upside to that is I was producing new courses, I'm producing new content, I'm regularly putting out podcasts, I'm putting out videos, I have a YouTube channel. For most people, this is not exciting news, but for someone like me to have a YouTube channel is like, and it felt like it had me, though. It was the most bizarre experience, or at least it has been. And I spoke with a practitioner about this. I just said, this is really interesting, and I'm loving it. But, and all of this is happening, and at the very same time, I keep getting these subtle messages, whether from a friend, from a podcast. The messages were, slow down, take a breath, just be for a minute. And I kept going, no, this is not the time for that, to just sit, no. But it still caught my attention enough to kind of be going, And so in a conversation with this practitioner, he said it is quite common. Once you start soothing the aggravation that might be involved with one imbalance, another materializes. And this is a new one for you, he said. So basically you've moved from a vata imbalance to a pitta imbalance. This is what pitta imbalance feels like. It feels like you're on fire. It feels like there's an avalanche of creativity, and it's good. It feels great, but it can lead you to burnout because there's so much happening all at once. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I worked so hard. And I thought, what a great conversation to stir up in a YouTube video, though. Like, if you're a highly sensitive person, my guess is that you might have had some experience with this. Either the experience of that tug of war that can occur between, I really want to go do the thing, but I also really know I shouldn't. Or it might be, I have all of this creativity that's bursting out of me, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I have all these ideas. And then once you commit to all of those things, you realize at some point, oh, I can't actually do all of those things. My brain wants to, but my system doesn't have the capacity to do all of them, particularly given how deep I want to go into every one of them. I might be able to do okay committing to all of these things, but I wouldn't do great at any of them. And this is where I'm finding myself. I'm finding myself wanting to go to the next step. Do I do a deeper dive into yoga therapy? Do I do a deeper dive into now getting another master's degree? I'm in this wonderful position of working at a job that does offer some compensation for getting an education. So I feel like I should take advantage of that. Or maybe I should put all of my energy into the healthy sensitive and helping other people. But maybe I can do both. And also, I want to learn Spanish. And it's like, oh. And I've got to tell you guys, I don't have the answer to this. I'm not settled in all of this. All of this stuff is still percolating in my mind. I don't know what's going to happen next. But I've been doing some things to try and not tame what's happening, but at least put it on a leash so it's not running wild. Because I don't know if I want to tame it. Creativity maybe shouldn't be tamed. Life maybe shouldn't be tamed. But there should be something that restricts its capacity to take over. And I don't know, is this something that any of you have felt on your own skin? Do you notice these urges and impulses that might pull you or push you? And do you notice in yourself that you might equal parts want solitude and serenity and alone time while also wanting to bring forth creativity and connect with other people and create community? Do you notice these things pull on you? Because they're certainly pulling on me. And I'm putting myself out there to bring up this question, not because I have an answer, but because I don't. And I would love to hear your thoughts about it. I go, again, and did a little bit of a deeper dive into my membership site, and if you would like to come, please do. I am offering a free trial if you want to just check it out for a month and see what it's like. You just have to go to www.thehealthysensitive.com, and you'll notice that there's a link to the membership site. And if you don't, well, then I would love it if you could just either leave a comment in the section here on the channel itself, or you can go to my website, www.thehealthysensitive.com, and leave a comment in the contact me site, or you can just email me, leah@thehealthysensitive.com. I love conversations that just get stirred up from, I don't know, our inner yearnings. So if this is something that speaks to you, please speak to me. All right, well, that's all for this section. Have a fabulous day.